Fitness coaching, both virtual and in person, like personal training, has exploded. It's a growing field. There's more people interested today than there was just last year and the year before and the year before. But there's a problem. A good coach can have profound benefits on your fitness and health. A bad one, equally negative. Today, we're going to talk about the 9 fitness coaches that need to be fired. If you listen to this episode and your coach falls under one of these categories, kindly let them know you'll be finding someone else.
Stay away from these characters.
Let's do it.
Actually, this is cool because we get a lot of questions around how do I, know I have a good coach or a bad coach or what to look for. So hopefully, as we go through your list, I think you got 9, right? Mm-hmm. That you go through here. We can go through, all the bad qualities or traits of these 9 coaches. So.
Yeah, 100%. And you know what I said in the intro, there's nothing like a good personal trainer or good coach when it comes to health and fitness. Like there is no better guarantee that you can get if you want to lose weight or get healthy or fit or strong or build muscle and you want to be able to maintain it for the rest of your life. You want to figure this out for yourself so that you can always do it. You can do it forever. Yeah. There is nothing that comes close to a good coach.
Best investment, hands down.
Period. There's nothing. Nothing comes close to having that guide that can really bring you on this journey and set you up for the rest of your life. But on the other side of this are bad coaches. And bad coaches ruin this for people. In fact, bad coaches are worse for people than no coaches. Bad coaches have this, what they tend to do with people is they tend to do things the wrong way, so wrong. Even if the person gets results, by the way, wrong doesn't mean they don't get results. Wrong can sometimes mean the person gets results and gets back out of shape because of how it was done in the first place. What they often do is get somebody to the point where they don't ever want to try again.
Yeah,
I know.
Trying to get somebody, and I'll speak from personal experience as a personal trainer, it's easier to get somebody who's never worked with a trainer to hire me than it is to get somebody who's hired 3 or 4 bad trainers to then hire me because they've had such bad experiences. This is something we're very passionate about because this is our space. So good trainer, worth their weight in gold. Bad trainer, run as fast as you can.
I like you start right out the gates with one that I think is going to be a little bit of controversy because I think inherently I think people want a little bit of this.
They're drawn to this guy.
Yeah,
that's right. That's right. It's the hype machine. This is the guy or girl where everything is about motivation, inspiration, and excitement, which is great at first. The problem is the feeling of motivation is a feeling, it will fade. It always does. It just doesn't, you can't be motivated all the time. It doesn't work that way. And so this trainer really does a terrible job because what they tend to do with people is through trying to keep them motivated and hyped, they try so many different things that they end up burning the person out. The person stops and never comes back. They're gone because they never help the client figure out how to do this when they're not motivated. Because here's a true statement. I've never had to convince a motivated client to exercise. Mm-mm. I've never had a motivated client go off the rails with diet. It's when they're not motivated that it becomes a challenge. So now the answer isn't to hire somebody who motivates you all the time because that's impossible. It doesn't exist. And this hype machine person causes more injuries and problems than almost any other coach. And again, we see this in social media quite a bit. You see these trainers or these types that are all about like, make it happen. You can, beast mode. You never stop, and it's just
push through it.
A terrible message for long-term success.
Yeah, I think this of all the ones that you created will be the most difficult for people to understand or to see because I think this is attractive. Mm-hmm. I think if you're a consumer and you are inspired to make change and you come across a very inspiring or motivational type of trainer, that's attractive.
Yep.
Especially in that moment. Especially in that moment of, I need to make change. I'm not happy where I'm at. That guy seems like he's awesome. He's full of energy and he says all the cool quotes and, they're going to be drawn to this character. So this is probably, I think, the most difficult of all the ones you're going to talk about on seeing through this. And I think what you're looking for is, because it's like, so what do you go for? The opposite of that? Someone who's not motivated or not, right? So it's like, But what you're looking for is somebody who leans more on behavioral change and discipline over hype and motivation.
Well, I look at them a little bit too as more of like a drug dealer in a sense. Like they're
they're dealing out the drug.
They're the person coming in is like, they're looking for this external motivation, and this is a supplier of motivation. Mm-hmm. I can't generate this myself. It's like a very passive role that they're playing in this. That's
why it's so attractive, right?
It's so attractive. It's like they can continuously feed me this motivation drug when I show up, and it's just like it just burns out, and it doesn't continue to benefit.
No, and by the way, most trainers start off as hype machines.
Yeah.
This is what you think you're supposed to be as a personal trainer. Today's program giveaway is Maps Anabolic. If you want to win, leave a comment below this video. In the first 24 hours that we drop it, subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications. If you win, we'll let you know in the comment section. Also, go to musclemommymovement.com/quiz. Take the free quiz. See if you're the comeback queen, the efficient powerhouse, the strength novice, or the lifestyle integrator. It's free. Get some free advice. Go check it out. Here we go. I'll paint a scenario, right? You're 30 pounds overweight. You see a picture of yourself. Oh my God, that's it. I got to do something about this. And so, of course, there's a self-hate going on. I'm disgusted, hate myself. That's it. I'm going to do something. And you've got this like extreme negative rooted motivation, right? I hate myself. Don't like the way I look. Now I'm motivated. So you're looking for somebody to feed that. It doesn't last. It doesn't last for a couple different reasons. One, motivation, all motivation is a feeling and eventually it goes away. What do you do then? And two, if you've got that negative motivation and someone fuels that, well, you can't hate yourself into better health, at least not in the long term. It just doesn't work that way. Yeah. Hating yourself leads to overtraining, injury, over dieting, and then eventually rebelling in the opposite direction.
It masks a lot of like natural signals your body's telling you that you need to adjust intensity. You need to adjust certain things and maybe change course with your training, but like you're not going to be receptive to that if you're always about like pushing through and hyping your way.
By the way, you know who else burns out is the hype machine trainer themselves.
Oh yeah.
So when I would hire a trainer like this and I'd see this in them, I'd coach them out of it because I'd tell them, you're going to be burnt out. Yep. You can't keep trying to hype every client you train for long. You're going to last a year or two max. And after that, you're going to hate your job.
I just picture this trainer after he's done the work going around the corner smoking a cigarette and just like, oh God, I don't know if I can do another day.
Totally, 100%. Yeah. Next up is the shame guy or girl. This is the trainer that when you make a mistake, you miss a workout, you ate a meal or whatever, you went off your diet, that they shame you into trying to shame you back into shape. This is terrible. What this leads to eventually is you not wanting to really talk to your trainer and tell them what you're struggling with. If you have a trainer that you're afraid to tell that you messed up, or if you feel like, oh man, I'm gonna tell my trainer I did this and it's gonna just, oh man, I'm not gonna like it, you'll start hiding things from them. Or what'll happen is maybe you like this because there's a little bit of a cathartic feeling when you're hating yourself, right? You hate yourself. Right. So now my trainer tells me I'm a piece of crap and I'm lazy too. And I like that at first. Eventually that gets old and here's what happens to you. You just stop seeing them. Yeah. And I've seen this before. I know the shame trainers. What happens is they'll get a clientele that sticks for a bit and then they just ghost them. They just disappear because they don't want to see them anymore because they themselves are like, I hate this shame spiral type of thing.
This is like leaders that manage out of fear. It's kind of similar. It's like you get like you get a little bit of positive feedback that it works because initially when you lead from fear, people are afraid to lose their job. And so they do what they tell you to. So you think, oh, that's a good approach. That's kind of how like the shame game works in coaching is like, if I shame the client, there's a part of them that knows that. And then they'll try and be better because they don't want to fail me again. And so it gets you a little bit further, but it won't get you all the way there. And it eventually, this is exactly what will happen. That's the client or the trainer that uses the shame like that. The clients disappear. They don't call. They don't do anything. They just don't want to. They don't want to see you anymore. They don't know how to. They don't even know how to break up with you. You know, so they just leave.
And we know what shame leads to. By the way, is eventually it leads to self-medication with food, lack of activity. Mm-hmm. This is what often gets people in the cycle or spiral of weight gain, weight loss, weight gain, weight loss. It's the shame that's behind it. I'll put it differently. If you screw up on your diet or you miss a week of workouts, the first person you should want to talk to is your trainer, not the last person. If you screw up on your diet and you're like, oh man, I just ate.
Yeah, I'm going to get berated for this.
I just ate an entire box of Oreo cookies. I need to call my trainer. That's a good trainer. Versus, oh my God, don't tell John what I just did. I'm not going to let them know what happened because then I'm going to hear it. Next up is the trainer or coach that prioritizes intensity over technique. This is an easy one to spot, right? It's about just do the reps, complete the reps. They're not watching your technique and form, making sure it's perfect. Exercise is only as effective as the way that they're performed. Okay, so I'll repeat that. The better you can perform an exercise or the better the technique is, the more you're going to get out of it. Intensity is never better than technique. When you start to sacrifice technique for intensity, not only do you not get better results, you get worse results, but your risk of injury goes through the roof. And you just give yourself enough time and you'll see yourself. Eventually you'll get an injury. And you can pick these coaches and trainers out in the gym because you can watch what they're doing and they're just like 5 more, 4 more, keep going, keep going. Yeah. And there really is no
always 4 more
focus on the form.
Yeah, they a lot of times go hand in hand with the motivation person.
That's right.
Yeah, and this is again, there's a few of these characteristics or avatars that you've built that I think will feel crossover or appeal. They'll be appealing to people. This is another one. A lot of, I mean, how many clients do you guys remember having that thought they needed that or thought they wanted that? They wanted the punishment. They wanted, that wasn't hard enough. I mean, I can't remember how many clients I remember having to talk to where I'd catch them going and doing a workout after a workout because they think they needed more. And so a lot of times clients think that they need to be sweating and burning and they're walking out limping out of the gym. And if they didn't have a good workout. So this is another one that I think many times the consumer is drawn to thinking it's actually better. Some of these are like, oh yeah, I don't want to coach like that. But some of these are like, oh wait, I thought that's a good thing. Yeah. And so this is another one of those.
This is why it's your job, if you're a good coach, to educate your client on this. You know, like why do you want to hire a trainer? Oh, I need someone to kick my butt.
Yeah.
That's what you hear.
I mean, I've even heard that.
Oh yeah, that's a common one. And it's like, what do you mean by kick your butt? You really literally want me to kick your butt, or do you want to have good results? And so a good trainer or coach would educate the client on what actually produces good results. And technique, when it comes to exercise, is everything.
Superior.
It's everything. By the way, you know what this looks like, this intensity over technique? If you ever watch a strength training group exercise class, that's a great example of intensity over technique. Body pump or whatever. Everybody's in the class and they're just, it's like, it doesn't matter what exercise you're doing. You're just moving. So you might as well just sit in the corner and do jumping jacks. And that's literally true, by the way. It's actually better because your risk of injury is lower than the people doing 15 exercises in a row with no form or technique whatsoever just to get the reps in. That's what that looks like.
It goes such hand in hand with that motivation. It's just like, because the only way you can get through a lot of these like reps is if somebody's like hounding you to get through it. And it's, again, it's attractive to most people that don't know that it's, not beneficial.
Biggest Loser strength training look like this.
Yeah.
Exactly
like that.
This episode is brought to you by the most advanced sleep system in the world, 8 Sleep. Go to 8sleep.com/MindPump. Use the code MindPump. Get up to $350 off. Back to the show. Next up is the low calorie solves everything person. Oh, you're not losing enough weight? Drop your calories. Oh, you plateaued? Drop your calories. And it starts getting really ridiculous. These are people that I would have to try to fix.
They have one button.
Yeah, they'd come to me and they'd be like, I lost 20 pounds. I had 15 more to go. I plateaued. And I'm like, what were your calories at? Like, where are you at? Oh, I'm at 1,100 calories. Okay, we can't go any lower. We got to bring this up and figure something else out. Low calorie, calorie deficit is how you lose weight, but a deficit just means a deficit. It doesn't mean your calories get so low that it's unsustainable, and now you're sacrificing things like energy and lifestyle to the point where it's just like, this isn't happening. I can create a deficit by speeding up your metabolism, building muscle, making things more efficient. When your calories get so low to where it's like, this is just unbearable, we got to figure this out.
We had a nickname for this coach. It was the Jenny Craig coach. And I'm dating myself a little bit, but 20 years ago, that was so popular of a diet, and it's a point system, and it's completely built around just eating less. And so the trainers that either one had gone through that and had success with weight loss themselves, or had seen people have success with that, so that was like their go-to move, was just like turned everything in. Even if they weren't using Jenny Craig's diet or thing, they make everything into just as low as possible. Like a point system, and if I could just get these clients to eat as low calorie, they'll lose the weight. And so that was the go-to strategy. And again, here's another one of these things where initially this kind of can work. I mean, you get somebody who eats terrible and you tell them, hey, you only get to eat 1,500 calories or less, and they do that consistently, they will lose weight. Unfortunately, it's not sustainable, and 80-90% of those people gain it all back. But it tends to be a go-to move for the trainers that have had a lot of weight loss success through just calorie cutting.
That's right. Next up is the absent coach. So this is typically the virtual coach who sends you the workout,
here's the plan,
the macros or whatever, and then you're not really getting any coaching. So this is like the ChatGPT coach. You might as well go with ChatGPT and get your nutrition and exercise advice. They're just absent. You're just not getting much coaching whatsoever. In which case I say, why did you hire them in the first place? Where's the value? And this you know, the space started trending this way a little bit. I think it's moving out of this direction because people kind of saw like this doesn't work. But there was a second there, it was a little while there, where there was a lot of virtual coaching.
A lot of influencers kind of started this whole thing and got called out because it's like this is a lot of times the consumer, it's their fault because they're the ones approaching this influencer, this person looks great, I want to look just like you. Then they take them on as a client, then they take everybody on as a client, and then they try to kind of bring people in and figure it out, but you're not getting good service at all.
This wasn't an avatar until online coaching.
That's right.
This didn't exist. I mean, back in the days when you trained someone, you couldn't be absent. You had to show up to their appointment.
They'd be like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah. So that didn't exist until then, and it is. I would say this is the most popular one now. For the point that Justin's bringing up, is that you get all this fame and attention online for your body, and you've got 1 million people following you, and these trainers are they have 100 clients, 500 clients. I mean, it's wild what you hear some of these internet trainers are. It's like, dude, I remember when you get around like 25 clients, that's a lot of people
to manage.
To
offer them good value.
Yes, to really be able to help them individualize things, to be constantly tweaking. Managing 25 is a lot. Managing 50, 100, some of these hundreds of people.
They're just sending out emails.
Yeah, you're getting a generic program, a generic diet sent to you. And so, this is that coach. And that coach didn't exist until, online coaching really popped up.
Next is the everything but the kitchen sink all at once coach. Like you hire them and it's like, boom, diet, program, sleep regimen, supplements, it's like everything.
Sauna.
All at once. This is a surefire way to fail. This was me. There's a couple of these that fit me as the early trainer.
Yeah.
This was me, man. I got a new client. I'm giving you all the answers. Just follow all this stuff and we're going to fix this. Terrible way to coach because this is a guaranteed way to make somebody fail.
Yeah, this one to me is, again, we have these ones where I feel like that will be attractive to the consumer. Then there's these are the ones that like tend to, oh my God, right away, you'll be turned. Most people are like, this is too much. Unless you're maybe that person, like your engineers like tend to be like this. They want
your Strava people.
Yeah. Want all the detail, all the things. There's a small percentage of people like most people are like, they get all the things and like, oh my God, I didn't realize I'm gonna have to do all of these things. And so you'll feel like that from this trainer, right?
And if you the reason why this doesn't work is because that's just not how it works. That's not how you develop behaviors.
Exactly.
And not how you lead to a way of doing this for the rest of your life. This is all the answers to the test, but you never figured out how to do the work.
Yep.
And so now you go into the real world and you're like, oh, cool, you have a degree in this? And you're like, yeah, because I had all the answers. Like, cool, go figure out this problem. I don't know how to figure out the problem. Give me the answers.
Never actually done it.
It doesn't work this way. A good coach meets you where you're at. You have to be met where you're at, and they have to step by step this process so that you can develop these disciplines. You can develop these behaviors, work through them, figure out what works, what doesn't work, and it's a process. And that's the only way.
It's a real art.
That's right.
With good coaches to know what to present and what time to present it and to give them just enough so it gives them the work so they can get wins along the way.
That's right. Next up is the trainer or coach that only talks and never listens. They love to tell you everything and what's going to happen, but they're not asking questions. Every time you ask a trainer or coach a question, it's a good coach will typically ask you a question back because they needed more information. This is just a fact. Hey, what's the best exercise for glutes? Okay, well, what part of your glutes are you looking to work on? What does your workout currently look like? Hey, what's the best form of cardio? Which one do you enjoy doing the most? When's the best time to work out during the day for fat loss? Well, let me know what your schedule looks like, and let's talk about this a little bit. Like, what's the best food for this? a good coach is asking a lot of questions to get more information to really figure this out for you. The person that just talk, it's like going to a mechanic with your car, and the mechanic doesn't even ask you what's wrong. Cool, we'll fix your car. We'll see you later. It's like, I gotta know what to do.
This actually reminds me of a story of a trainer that worked for me. So we've talked about this before. Like when you get sometimes, man, with clients, sometimes you might just go for a walk with them, right? Or maybe an hour session does end up being like a real deep, like personal therapy type of session. Like that, you get these and you, as a good coach and trainer, you'll know when it happens, and you'll feel it, and you get to a point where sometimes a workout could look like that, but they're rare, right? It's like it's not a common thing. I remember I had a trainer who and I remember giving them that freedom that yeah, no, definitely. You have a client that you can tell is going through something, is stressed, not sleeping, personal stuff like that. You beating them up in the gym is a disservice to them. You walking to them and maybe, hearing them out and talking to them and stuff like that may be something that's far more beneficial and healthy for them in that moment. And so absolutely as a leader, I'm not going to tell you not to do that. And then I remember that this trainer I'm thinking of right now, it became like almost every workout she was sitting in the back corner, Indian style with her client, and they're just talking for the hour. I'm like, you can't possibly have that many clients.
Too much.
It turned into she figured out that, oh my God, these people love to talk, and they would go in this back area, and
I know who you're talking about.
Dude, and it was just like a constant, you're hanging out with your client.
Too far.
Yeah, you're exactly too far.
We're gonna do some work.
Yeah. You actually have to get these people to lift weights. They can't all be in that place, the same place where they don't need to work out. And so there are those trainers that they end up, and I feel like this trainer, likable, personable trainer, they enjoy talking, and a lot of clients, they're not going to tell you what to move along the workout. So many times you have these trainers who are so unaware of the situation that they just end up sitting, or they'll sit on one machine and they'll talk the whole hour on that one piece of equipment. Yeah. So it's kind of all the same, and it's all due to the spending more talking than they are listening and moving them through the workout.
Yeah. Then you have the know everything guy. This is a trainer that never says, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Let me figure that out for you.
Yeah.
A good coach or a good trainer. Now, you may find the 1 in a million trainer or coach who's got so much experience and knowledge that they just know a lot of things. But most trainers and coaches know some stuff. They're good at what they know. But what they also know, or what they should know, is they should know people who know things that they don't, that they could refer to. That's what a good coach is. So when you ask them a question about gut health or sleep, and they're like, you know what, let me find out for you. I know somebody who I think might have the answer. That's a good coach or a trainer. Mm-hmm. The know-it-all person oftentimes will give advice that is wrong because it's out of their scope. They just don't want to admit it. They're insecure.
I would throw in this category, because I think it's the same guy or girl as this, which is the heavy science person. Mm-hmm. This is the person that every time they answer you, they reference a study, or they talk in those terms, versus maybe their experience of what they've seen or had done in the past, or it may not always align with a study. But the heavy science nerd, or the fresh out of getting their master's degree kid, is like, this is how they talk. They communicate as if their professor was talking to them. They talk to their clients that way. I would put that person in this category too. And that to me, if you're always communicating from that perspective, that's a red flag that, okay, maybe this trainer knows a lot, book smarts, but maybe they haven't had a lot of experience with a lot of people like me, or trained people like me.
Well, and initially the client that's going in might be wowed by your knowledge, your the terminology, and know that you have a good educational background. But then when you keep going, the relatability really drifts off, and it's you can't really connect based on real life things that you're coming in with, because you're just going to get talked at.
Yeah. Totally. And then lastly, the trainer that treats you like a competitor. These tend to be coaches and trainers that compete themselves. Yeah. And so you hire them to lose weight, and this is a ex-bodybuilder, maybe a current bodybuilder, a physique competitor, bikini competitor. And they're treating you like a competitor with macros and diet and cardio and strength training, and it's going to be this way. And look, I think they have value when they're training competitors who are competing for a specific, goal. I have a competition coming up. But for the average person, the last thing you should do is train like a competitor or eat like a competitor. that's not sustainable for competitors.
it's
Competitors
not
don't
healthy.
even do that all the time. They do it only when they compete. And so if their advice is coming from, look, my experience is training bikini competitors, bodybuilders, and physique competitors, and you're Mrs. Johnson, you don't have any desire to do that. You just want to lose weight, like probably not the best trainer for you.
This is actually really common in the trainer competitor space, meaning if you are a trainer that's competed, because you have seen it work at the highest level, therefore you apply it to all these clients. Like you and your clients come in sometimes with goals like that. Like, hey, I want to be ripped, or I want to look great in a bikini. And you're like, dude, I have the formula for it. Trust me. I've done it. You know, I've been on stage, I've done this, or I've taken people. And so therefore they apply that way of training to everybody. So it's really common when you get, and this has gotten bigger today with Instagram and how many online coaches that we have, because it seems like anybody who took themselves through a competition and did at all remotely good is now a coach and coaching people. And so then they turn around and they basically do the same thing with all of the clients that they did with themselves. And man, unless you're training a competitor, that's a failing strategy for most clients. Most clients, I mean, one of the most common things that I found being in that space was, boy, maybe some of these people didn't understand diet that much. Maybe some of them were, their programming good, but their discipline and their sacrifice was insane. And so it takes a very unique person to be able to compete and get on stage. And if you think that that's the average avatar, you're crazy. Like, very few people are that regimented and disciplined. And if you approach training your clients the same way you approach getting ready for a show or getting another client ready for a show, you're going to have
these kind of coaches oftentimes destroy people's metabolism. They crash their bodies. They destroy people's hormones, because that's what competition does. Getting ready to be on stage is a very unhealthy way to diet and exercise. And you apply to the average. These are people we'd have to heal.
I'm so glad you're bringing this up, because one of the hallmarks of a bad coach, and I guess you would fit them in this category, is taking a client and putting them on an extreme diet when they're not in a good place metabolically.
That's right.
And so I don't even care. I had people that wanted to compete, and I could get them ready for show, that I would refuse just because I knew they weren't metabolically ready. I'd do an assessment of their diet, and I'd be like, you're eating 1,700 calories. You're at 25, 30% body fat. You want me to get you on stage?
Nowhere to go.
No way. And they would give me a date. Like, oh, I want to get ready for November or whatever show. And I'm like, in 12 weeks or 16 weeks. I'm like, yeah, no, not happening. I already know where you're at currently right now, that I can't just put you on a diet, where some of these coaches, or a lot of these coaches, will take somebody from that position. So that in itself is a major red flag.
They get clients afterwards with hormone profiles that are wrecked, with health issues that they end up causing. And then we end up having, we work, sometimes they are callers, by the way. Sometimes we have callers that are calling in.
Yeah, this happens a lot.
That came out of that, and they're like, yeah, I didn't get a period for a year or 2 years afterwards. I destroyed my metabolism. What do I do? We got to reverse them and help them out, because they were treated like a competitor when they definitely shouldn't have been.
I'm so glad you're saying this right now, because I didn't even think about talking about this. And I do think this is such an important time to bring this up, because there's a lot of people that think that signing up for a bikini contest or a show is a good idea to get themselves in shape.
Terrible.
And there's a lot of coaches that will take those people's money, even though they shouldn't. So one way to know, and I don't know if this falls in this coach or not, but if you've ever considered doing that, and your coach doesn't do like some sort of a metabolic test with you, or get an idea of where your current calories are before they put you on a competitive diet, huge red flag right away. Because that was the first thing I would do when someone asked me that, hey, I want to do a show in X amount of time. I'd say, okay, well, check your food for the next 2 weeks. Let me see kind of where you're at. And when I would see these people at 1,500, 1,600 calories and a long way to go from stage ready, there's no way I would do that. My integrity wouldn't allow me to do that. I feel like a good coach will always do that first before they would just take that person's money.
Right. Look, if you like Mind Pump, come find us on Instagram. We'll see you. It's at Mind Pump Media. All right. I know you liked that episode. If you did, check this one out. How strong should you be? Ever wonder if you're actually strong, or at least compared to people like yourself? Today's episode, we're going to talk about that, and we're going to help you determine how strong you should be, and also talk about the steps to getting strong as fast as possible. In fact, we're going to talk about the fastest way to get bigger and stronger all at the same time.
Just keeps Adam up at night.
Yes, it does actually, and I know that you wrote a really complex episode here, but I think Justin's metric has been the one